Can social media make mental disorders contagious?
Fuck around and find out.
What is good? Welcome back to the Flawdcast. I'm your boy Flawdzilla, and I'm here with my lovely co-host Mozilla.
What up, yo?
This is the most normal place on the internet. I meant last normal place on the internet, but also the most.
Maybe even the world.
Welcome. Today's video is a Jordan Peterson video. He's having a discussion with, I don't know who this lady is. We haven't talked about Jordan Peterson in a minute, so I'm happy to check back in with them, you know? This video is about what we just said. It's called The Social Contagion of Mental Disorders Through Social Media Platforms. So I think what that means is, can social media can it cause mass hysteria? Is there, are people more susceptible to mass hysteria through social media than they are in real life? Mm-hmm. You know, and I think it is. I think social media does it without even trying. And it's just like
a tool.
Yeah. But it might not even be without trying. This could actually seems like they're trying to get results.
Yeah. But absolutely. Social media doesn't have to try. Yeah. It doesn't, but they are using it.
They're running experiments.
Yeah. I think so too.
Yeah. And I think they already have their information, and now they're using it against us.
Yeah.
But anyway, let us get into this, man. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell to be notified whenever we drop.
Flawd's booty.
And when I said get into this, man, I didn't mean a man.
I didn't even hear it.
Let's get into this, man. Obviously, pause. Obviously. All right. Now, let us get into this.
But then the other thing that is scary about social media is social contagion of mental disorders. So we know we're aware now that certain
proportions. You know what? I'm gonna speed up the voice so these videos can be faster.
Oh, okay, cool.
I'm just gonna speed them up just a little bit, so then we can get through these videos faster because
they pause a lot.
Yeah. Well, they talk slow, you know.
Of young girls who are identifying as gender dysphoric and attempting to become transgender. We're aware now that there is such a thing as rapid onset gender dysphoria.
Okay, so there's a book called Discovery of the Unconscious, which is a great book. Henry Ellen Berger.
She said rapid onset gender dysphoria. Yep. So that means it happens now. Like there could be no sign of it.
It's just
and
tomorrow
then it just hits. Yep. And it makes sense for what's happening now.
Yeah.
It's like it's just you're just subjected to the right video.
That's it.
The right TikTok video.
That's it.
And that starts the whole
thing. Gender opposite.
Yeah. That's wild. And maybe even just like there's different drives for different things. Like people could see not even realize this is happening, but see people defending these groups and be like, I want that kind of I want people defending me like that. I want people to care about me like that.
Yep.
So maybe I do feel like that. And I feel like it's not on purpose. Maybe sometimes for some people, it's mental illness and they just fall right into line. Exactly. Like some people don't understand that other people's brains work way different. Way different.
The fact that we don't even know how to use our entire brain should tell people that your brain is
brain is complex, bro.
Come on now.
Brain is complex. Even dummy brains, even dumb brains still have neurons firing and connecting and doing all this shit, you know? It's wild, man. That's why habits change your mind, change your brain. They actually change your brain. Like your brain reconfigures itself.
Yep.
After addiction, you know? So
exactly.
There's so many other things that are having these effects, and social media has such a powerful effect. We undermine it so much. We act like it means so little. Like,
constantly.
Fuck Facebook, fuck Twitter. That doesn't mean nothing. That isn't real life.
As I'm on
Bro, you still are treating it as if it's a real interaction with people out in the world. So imagine interacting with people in the way you do on social media out in the world. It doesn't happen, you know? So it's almost as if we are doing things that humans shouldn't be doing.
Yes.
Like it's not possible for us to do the things that we do on social media, and we do it on a daily basis.
It's not natural.
It's not natural at all to be able to talk to as many people as we do.
As far away as people are.
Have our opinion matter as much as it does on social media. Have people take everything you say so literally. You know what I'm saying? Like so many different things. It's
an issue,
yeah.
and
You know
people
it's
don't.
having a fucking effect.
People don't sit and think about that often
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah, it's definitely having an effect.
It's. I was given that book by a psychiatrist at the Douglas Hospital, who was my supervisor, a French guy, Maurice Dangier, a very distinguished psychiatrist. And he said, this is the psychoanalytic Bible, Discovery of the Unconscious. And the first, it's about that thick. And it covers Jung, Freud, Adler. It's a great book. But the first 300 pages is a history of pre-psychoanalytic thought. And part of that is a historical survey of contagion.
Yeah.
Right. And so the multiple personality disorder, for example, has cycled through about 300 years. And there are people who are temperamentally susceptible to such contagion. They're likely the same people who are relatively easily hypnotizable.
Yeah.
It's likely associated with high openness, by the way.
Right. Okay.
And so, you could also imagine that if you're high in openness, it's harder for you to catalyze and specify an identity, and you're more diverse in your inner life, maybe even your emotional life. And so, right. And then there's confusion here too that we should talk about as psychologists. So sex and gender, and I've been accused of just saying that those are identical, but I know they're not, because there is a lot of personality variability on top of biological sex. And it isn't a particularly rare woman who essentially essentially the same temperament as the average man.
Sure.
My suspicions are it's probably about 1 woman in 10. Now, it would depend on exactly how you made the cutoffs, but I don't, if it's not 10%, maybe it's 5%. I don't care. It's somewhere in that range. And the same can be said for men. And so it's perfectly possible for a boy to have a temperament that's more like a girl, but that does not mean that he's in the wrong body.
Yes.
That's that's a pretty radical solution for a problem that's essentially a consequence of normal temperamental variability. And so there is some utility in separating out gender from sex if you think of gender as personality, which I think is the appropriate way to think about it scientifically.
Wow.
But I knew back when I got entangled in my first political conflict, I thought all this mucking about with gender categories is going to confuse and hurt way more people than it's going to help. And part of this is this problem of contagion of confusion.
Yes.
So all adolescents really need that. That's really what
It makes sense, and
does.
it actually explains what's happening.
He breaks it down.
It explains how, like we just saw that article. 22 of 32 students are transgender. Came out as transgender, not just LGBTQ. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was like a 3rd grade class. 22 of 32 students came out as transgender, not just LGBTQ, not gay, not lesbian, but as transgender.
Yeah, that wasn't pushed on them or told or anything.
But maybe it's what he's talking about. Maybe it's the social media contagion. These kids are online. These kids are seeing all this. There's no way. There's so much content on this shit. There's no way these kids aren't seeing these groomers.
Absolutely.
These groomers telling kids, this is what you are. This is the good thing. This is good. This is good. And I feel like when they're speaking, the way they're speaking, they're not trying to convince adults.
No.
They're trying to convince kids. Like when it's like they know adults are going to disagree with them and shit like that, but they know kids are going to stumble upon it and see them speaking the way they're speaking, and they're going to just believe them. They're just going to be like, the adults are saying that are bigots or Nazis. That's why we know you're not racist. We know I'm I don't even know what they would call me, but we know that white people who talk like this are not bigots. We know that black people who talk about this aren't bigots. We know no one's a bigot. No one's a racist. It's just an opinion on a situation that is real life. It's reality. And what they are saying is super false realities, fucking fantasy world.
It's insane.
But they say it as if it's true.
With conviction.
With so much conviction. So when they say, if you disagree with that, you're a Nazi, you're a racist, you're a bigot, and the kid hears that and they're like, oh, these are the people who are saying that are bad. The people who are disagreeing are bad. The people who are saying it are victims. The people who are dealing with this are victims, and we need to care about them. Because the other people are evil for thinking like that. Like they're invalidating existences. And they're just making blatant shit. They're just making shit up. And we all know we're not doing any of that. We're not doing any of that. We're literally just actually concerned. Actually concerned for children and for this society, the situation that this is creating. but children don't know any better. So they're just saying these things as if we're doing this. It's clear that they're not speaking to adults when they're saying
That's
this.
so sad.
It's clear that they want a kid to stumble upon this, a teenager,
Yeah.
someone who has a malleable mind
And
to
then they go
stumble
to
upon it
school.
and say that and believe it.
And then they go to school and it's totally pushed on
Yes,
them
by
and
teachers and
accepted
shit
and
now.
told that it's
But
Yo,
maybe those teachers,
normal.
maybe those teachers are victims as well of
Yeah.
the same thing.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah.
Because they're all like, these people are young. They're 20s, 30s, maybe young 30s, young
Mm-hmm.
20s. So maybe they all fell for the same thing. Social media
Yeah.
telling them that this is right, da, 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 da. And it's just, it's just way worse now. It's just gotten way worse than it was before.
Can
Because when I was a
imagine.
liberal, it was still the same shit. It was like
It wasn't-
counterculture. It was like counterculture to do this,
Yeah.
to stick up for this type of shit. You felt like you were, and you're being so disrespectful to conservatives as you're doing it at the same time, calling them all these names and all this. And it feels like, it's actually real when you're saying it. You think that that's the truth
Yep.
until you actually break it down and start listening. But a lot of people won't break it down and start listening. They're just stuck. It's fucked. And it seems like they're just being driven crazy by social media.
Sad.
They need is more confusion about sex and
Yeah.
gender when they're 13.
Yeah.
That's just perfect.
Yeah.
It's freedom.
Well, yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
freedom. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You-
And it
right.
wouldn't be
was on
an
this-
issue. And
Yeah.
Disrespect.
there's nothing. Androgyny has been around for hundreds, thousands of years. I
Androgynous
mean,
Pat.
Yeah.
there's ancient sculptures of androgynous figures. I mean, ancient cultures understood androgyny, and
There's plenty of historical precedent for the idea that androgynous personality is actually more of an ideal. There's lots of speculation in Christian
Yeah.
mysticism about the androgyny of Christ.
yeah, that's right. And when I was a teenager, I used to look up to androgynous celebrities. Like, well, David Bowie was a little bit before my time, but he was androgynous. I used to
Mick
androgyny
Jagger.
was like, it was an ideal to emulate, and to be a tomboy
Steven
was
Tyler.
considered cool. But you would
Like
never
someone's
consider
grandmother.
medical
Right.
intervention. You would never consider hormone treatment
Yeah,
or
exactly.
modifying your
Yeah.
body to.
How about
suit-
mastectomy?
Yeah,
Or how
I mean,
about attempting to make a penis out of the musculature in your arm? Penises are actually quite complex. It's not that easy to take your arm and turn it into one.
Hey, you can.
Certainly not without a tremendous amount of cost and trouble.
And it's impossible anyway. It's still impossible.
God, yo.
You cannot create a penis out of an arm. It's an arm.
It will always be an arm.
will always
it's
be an
just
arm.
cut up and transformed.
100%. You're not creating anything. You're just disfiguring yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It
all it
doesn't
is.
make you a man. Nothing.
Yep, you're just
It's-
modifying your body.
It's just a flesh dildo.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's all it is.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah, yeah.
and then let's just imagine that you were wrong and confused just for a moment.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And the contrary
That's the
argument is,
thing.
well, you better deal with this early. It's like, yeah, you really know that, do you? You're so bloody sure about that, are you?
Well, the emotional blackmail that activists have used has
Suicide.
been, this argument that if kids don't get this early intervention, then they're at higher risk of suicide.
Bro,
Well, we have
isn't that what I just said?
Yeah.
Isn't that what I've been saying for the past week? And it just hit me just this past week that I'm like, I can't keep being quiet about this. I can't keep allowing that to
Yes.
to like
Make it.
stifle my argument.
Yep.
Because like I for this whole time I've been making all these videos, that's the one thing that I allow to penetrate my armor.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that kids commit suicide if they don't, if it's wrong, if I'm wrong, you know what I'm saying? But that's not it's the same on both sides. So
Yeah.
it just showed the numbers are very similar from post surgery,
Yes.
pre-surgery. So clearly it's a different issue. That's the
It's
thing. So
mental.
yes, we are still correct, and I don't feel now I don't feel bad about saying that because
Yeah.
I'm 100% sure of that
100%.
the number of people who would have this situation solved with by transitioning is so small,
Yep.
so small. I guarantee it. That's why there's so many who are just identifying and not going through with the surgery because they know that's not really how they feel, bro, and they're willing to like take these hormone blockers and all this shit to like use as a band-aid to make them think that they're actually going through with the surgery, and they're still having a permanent effect on themselves, but it's not as final as the surgery. You know what I'm saying? So I know that these people themselves, they know they have bigger issues than what it is, than it just being transgender, their transgender issue. It's a mental issue, and it's not going to make them happy, and they know that.
It's
So
just,
it's just
gonna
another
add.
Band-Aid. Yeah, and look at us. Look at normal humans. Like when we have issues, mental issues and shit, we don't go get them fixed. A lot of people don't go like see a therapist and go see a counselor and go see a psychiatrist. A lot of people don't do that. They just allow it to sit there, and that's the same thing. They're just Band-Aid. They're like, okay, I'm transgender. Let me deal with that. Let me deal with that part instead of actually helping my mental. People don't actually want the mental help.
No, they don't.
It's sad until they get older.
And it's too late sometimes.
But that's the key. The mental help is the key. That's the key of this whole situation.
Absolutely no idea whether, you know, this argument that if kids don't get this early intervention, then they're at higher risk of suicide. Well, we have absolutely no idea whether, you know, we don't, you know, suicidal ideation or distress is not easily disentangled from confusion around your identity.
Yeah.
It's not clear that it's simply transphobia or being trapped.
No, it's clear that it's it's clear that it's simply not. It's not simple, first of all, as you just pointed out. It's actually unbelievably complicated. So,
and
like
you
most
can see
difficult things. Yep.
Yeah. Well, there's a paper that's been recently published by Lisa Lippman, who did the original exploratory research on rapid onset gender dysphoria, and she's gone and interviewed 100 detransitioners, which is a lot of people.
I think she just talked to Barry Weiss about that.
Okay, yeah. Well, her paper, she interviewed detransitioners, so people who have transitioned gender and who now regret it. And there's a couple of patterns that stand out. One pattern that stands out is that often people felt the need to transition after some trauma had happened to them, so they experienced.
And also, I was gonna say, I forgot. This actually just helps. That when there's so many people who have detransitioned, it shows, and then they're telling you, you are wrong to allow kids to do this. These people who are detransitioning have experienced the whole thing, and are willing to put themselves back through trauma to come back to what they already were, which was supposedly the issue in the beginning. They are coming back and saying, that was not my problem. I thought it was. So many of them.
Don't
I thought
traumatize.
it was, do not do this to your kids. Do not allow your kids to go through this. It will absolutely hurt them.
Yes.
There's so many people who have experienced it saying that. And you know what they do? They attack them.
Yep. They shut them down.
They shut them down. They silence them. They attack them. So do they really care about people's help?
No.
Do they care about helping people? Obviously not, which makes me, again, be able to separate myself from that suicide argument, because you're the one who doesn't care.
Absolutely.
You're the one who really doesn't give a fuck about these children.
Care.
And you're trying to make it seem like I am for actually caring. You are demonic. That is a demonic energy. That whole entire fucking movement, like we said before, it's a demonic energy.
It
bro.
is. And
these people are sick.
And like you said, it's not the transgender people that are demonic. It's what they're using it. They're using them. The evil's using them.
The agenda is demonic. The movement is demonic, because you guys know you're not being honest. And then like in the other video, whenever you have a conversation with them and you try to keep it in reality, they will blatantly lie.
Yes.
They will lie knowing that it's not how they actually feel, because they don't want to lose the argument. They know they can't give up any amount of like progress that they've made. They can't give up any of it, because it's an agenda that they are clearly trying to force.
Awful.
So if they would have to admit that some things they say and do are wrong, which would make them reconsider their entire situation, have them which would actually help the whole entire movement.
Progress.
But they don't want to do it because they're making progress off of shame, off of guilt, off of disgusting ways.
It's temporary progress.
Yeah, and it's all temporary, because there's no way it can stay. There's no way. These they're hurting people. They're actually doing more harm than they are helping. They're not helping at all.
No.
Experience of trauma.
Creating
and then
division
another
among people
pattern that stands out is that these individuals were sort of sold gender transition as a solution to all of their problems.
Yeah. I think I read the paper. I think that one of the most common claims of the detransitioners was that they were tremendously ill-informed about the full consequences of their actions by the relevant medical professionals.
Yes.
And then we could also say, it's certainly possible that the relevant medical professionals are too terrified to fully inform them.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Well, it's their job. I mean,
I know. It's not an excuse, but it is. But it's still worth noting
be
because
attacked.
you can understand. Look, I know what happened in Toronto too.
Careers can be ended, lives can be ended, families can be separated.
Defamated, what is it?
Yeah, defamed, assassinated.
defecated.
Characters can be. You didn't say defecated. You said defamated.
But defamated, is that how you say it?
No, defamed.
Yeah.
Yeah, defamation.
Oh yeah.
But you said defecated. Wow, you always gotta turn something into some weird. But damn. I forgot what I was saying.
Sorry.
Let's continue.
The world's lead researcher on transsexual transition in children. I mean, his life was torn into shreds, and he's an apolitical guy. He's just a researcher, and he's a good one as well. Yeah. And so this fear, you can say, well, you're a professional. It's your duty to stand up regardless of the fear. But when there's that much pressure, even people who stand up are going to be inclined to speak a lot less than they might otherwise.
Facts.
Yeah. Oh, I've had a press council complaint made against me for an article I wrote for the Australian.
It's like that on purpose. So many people, bro. So many people will comment. I see comments like just people, random people who don't even have their picture in their default. Right?
Yeah.
They don't even have a picture in the default.
worst.
Telling someone about if that happened to me, if I got canceled, I wouldn't care. I'd be
Yes.
like,
Yep.
bro, you have no idea what it feels like to have that type of pressure on you, and neither do I. But I can only imagine.
Of course.
I can only imagine. Like what he went through when everyone just like called him a Nazi and everything like that. Like,
That was
bro,
sad.
that shit is like,
That was
there's
sad.
that you're only human. You're not, humans aren't built to deal with that shit with one person doing it in real life, let alone hundreds of thousands or
At
just
once.
thousands on the internet at once.
It's easy to type from a computer
It's
and
so
say you
easy.
can do things and
It's
don't
so
do
easy.
things.
But that's how people always do. People always claim, like, I wouldn't care if they were going to cancel me. I wouldn't go,
Okay.
like, okay, buddy, tough guy.
Yep.
Tough guy, yeah. That's exactly what it is. Like, it's wild.
Australian on transgender issues against me for an article I wrote for the Australian on transgender issues, and it wasn't upheld. But anytime a journalist in Australia wants to write about issues, particularly to do with medical intervention and gender dysphoric kids, they are subject to complaints, press council complaints.
Well, and if you're an MD or a psychologist,
Isn't that crazy?
if someone takes a complaint against you to your college, especially if that college has been increasingly dominated by activists, you are so screwed.
Yeah.
Like I had one client just cause me just an unbelievable amount of misery.
Really?
And well, because you can hijack the whole bureaucracy as a weapon.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah, and that's what these activists do, and they're very good at it. And they only need to have a couple of successes under their belt, and they have a whole system for attacking people.
Well, we have human rights commissions in Canada, which are a quasi-judicial entity with increasing power, and that's a perfect weapon for any activist who's motivated to use it. And that whoever the target of the Human Rights Commission is, you can kiss 5 years of their life goodbye, and there's a high probability that they're going to be found guilty regardless of what they did. It's really, it's truly appalling, especially given that it's
happened to that dude, Count Dankula, who taught his girlfriend's dog how to do a Nazi salute.
Oh yeah, you told me. I remember you told me about that.
As a joke for like a treat, he taught the dog to do the Nazi salute, and he got sued, and I think he went to jail.
What?
He has criminal. It was a criminal case. Yeah, it was a criminal case.
Wow.
happening under the aegis, hypothetically, of human rights.
And the ability to give informed consent. And this is just one. This is an example of how fanatics hijack institutions which you would have previously thought were fairly centrist and moderate. So it's the transgender activism issue is a perfect example because it's a tiny, like, transgender activists are a minority of transgender people who are a tiny minority anyway. So it's just like the smallest number of people creating an extreme amount of havoc.
That's crazy.
And it's a perfect example of how how a tiny intolerant minority can basically dominate others.
Yes.
Using all of the tools
and
that
look what's
have
happening.
social media. bureaucratic complaints, mobbing, that type of thing.
It's crazy because everybody is afraid. Not me, but
me either.
But it's still having an effect.
Fuck yeah.
It's still, our views are still staying low. Like
yes.
My videos are still getting demonetized until I have to put in a review for each one of them to get them actually monetized. Like
Crazy.
It wasn't like that until we started speaking on this type of shit, man.
Straight up.
These motherfuckers have a loud voice, and there's so little of them.
They sure
do. Which is causing people who aren't of that same cloud to actually be just as loud as them about it.
Right.
So they have people who don't want to get canceled on their side as well. It's like, bro, you can't. It's crazy.
Sucks.
It's crazy. Giving in to the terrorists, man.
Sucks.
It does. It really does. But it's not going to keep me quiet. I'm still going to continue to speak
Hell
on it.
No, we grinding.
I know there's people that actually agree.
Yep. We grinding.
And, you know, I know I'm not crazy. And by the end of all this, maybe we'll be like respected for not switching up.
Straight up.
Not saying I want the clout, but
no,
you know, it's just
I agree.
I think this is a very important topic, and and I just I have
totally
to
agree.
I have to stand by my motherfucking guns.
Yep.
But yeah, let us know what you guys think in the comments, man.
I miss Jordan Peterson.
Me too. We're gonna do more.
Yeah.
We're gonna do a lot more.
He explains things so well.
Yeah, he does. He's really good at this, man. But yeah, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell to be notified whenever we drop.
Flawd booty.
How do you guys feel about the situation? Do you think that the internet can make mental illness contagious? Let us know in the comments, man.
Yeah.
Shout out to all the YouTube members, Patreon members. Join the Telegram group. It's in the links in the description. I have a Linktree in the description that has links to everything I do, everything I have. Make sure to go on there and add me on all the social medias. Everyone's like, do you have a Getter? Do you have a Gab? Do you have a this? Do you have a that? Do you have an Odyssey? I have all of them.
Everything.
You know, so go down there, get it out of the Linktree, you know, and follow me on all that stuff. Make sure you join the Telegram group though, because that's gonna be very used in the future.
It sure is.
We're gonna be using that a lot in the future. You can live stream on there. There's a chat on there, like, and it's direct. It's direct from me to you. You know.
That's so
it's
dope.
direct from us to you.
Yep.
So definitely, and it's on the phone, so we can talk whenever. You know, it's like conversation forever.
Yep.
And Discord is pulling some bullshit, so obviously I'm replacing the Discord with the Telegram because I think it's a better app. So yeah, that's it, man. Love you guys.
Love y'all.
Remember to always stay flawed. Don't you dare try to play flawed. And if you see me in the streets, then you better say,
hey, Flawd.
Make it easier for me to go to sleep at night. I had a dream that I could do my thing, and everywhere I went, the people knew my name. Some people hated on the truth I bring, but now I use the hating just to fuel my plane. I had a dream that I could do my thing, and everywhere I went, the people knew my name. Some people hated on the truth I bring, but now I use the hating just to fuel my plane.